Columbia University student editor-in-chief of Columbia Sundial magazine, Columbia University. Jonas Du is back on our show again tonight. Good evening, sir. And tell me, there are outside calls from some members of Congress and others for the president of Columbia to resign. Internally, among the student body, can you give me the temperature of whether she's well-liked, whether you think that students want her to step down or not?
Well, it's fairly complicated to say here. I would say that a lot of the students in the encampment itself also agree, but for a different reason. They feel that her decision to call in the NYPD on Thursday to clear the encampment on the East Lawn and arrest over 100 students, they feel that that was grossly wrong, and they feel that that really puts students' lives in danger. Now, on the other hand, there are people on the Jewish side that agree with Elise Stefanik, that agree with the committee in saying that, you know, she hasn't shown enough leadership in combating anti-Semitism. So really, we're hearing calls from both sides for her to resign, but I would say the vast majority of students here do think that she's sort of weathering it better than the presidents of the universities after the December hearing.
Do you have a sense in the last couple of days whether this is growing more heated or whether the temperature's coming down in terms of the protests?
Well, you know, last time I was on the show, I believe it was Thursday evening, and so much has happened since then. I absolutely think that the temperature has risen so much since then. Just after I left the show, some Jewish friends and we went outside the gates and witnessed just horrific incidents of anti-Semitism. There were protesters yelling for October 7th to be repeated every single day, and this was just outside the Columbia gates. And then 24 hours later, there were people sneaking into campus. That's not allowed. You have to have a Columbia ID to get in. They were sneaking into campus, splashing water on Jewish protesters, saying things like strike Tel Aviv, saying things like, yeah, Hamas, so much so that a Columbia rabbi has even recommended that Jewish students go home, especially given the Passover holiday. They just don't feel that it's safe. So absolutely, things are at a low point.
I take it that, okay, so the protesters are Columbia students, people who sneak into campus and are stirring up trouble, agitators. Are the Columbia students, are they Palestinians themselves? Or are they on visas, or are they Americans, American Palestinians, or any way to describe the people who are protesting?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I know that Columbia has a large Palestinian American or Palestinian student body. So indeed, some of the protesters do have personal connections to Gaza, to the West Bank, in the same way that a lot of the Jewish protesters have connections to Israel and had people that they know personally affected by the October 7th attacks. However, I will say that the majority of the campus seems to be supporting the pro-Palestinian protesters. And from what I've seen, most people don't really have any personal connection. They're just there because, you know, they want to stand up for what they call genocide. And they really, I think the NYPD coming onto campus has really catalyzed people against the administration and has really garnered a lot of sympathy for the pro-Palestinian movement on campus.
Jonas Du, thank you very much. I hope you come back because they're very helpful for us understanding this. Thank you, sir.
Of course, thanks for having me.